In today's video, bluesy licks in between the chords and bluesy solo lines. Let me teach you a simple way to create these phrases coming right up. First, we need to identify the chords that we're going to be playing over, and I'll leave a link to this backing track because it's a great track and a great way to practice these bluesy concepts. But C major, G major, A minor, F major. Those are all in the key of C. So what I like to do first is pick a scale that fits over all the chords. And the C major scale does fit over them, but for these bluesy licks, I really like to use the C major pentatonic scale. And more specific, I like to use the extended version. The sliding motion that you can use with this scale really helps create these phrases. Check this out. Just really can hug those chords, and for me it's a lot easier to create bluesy phrases this way. Just really hugs the C chord. So the first chord is a C, so I'm really looking at the root, the home bass note, C here. And then playing, that's your home bass there. And it obviously fits perfectly for the C and the A minor chord and the F chord. And the only chord that you don't want to really hug that C note too much is the G chord. But you can just hammer on to the D note, which is 2 frets above that. And you just slide up. And just the little micro bends and the hammer on and pull off method is really, you can just go right up and down this scale. Get to that home bass note, 3rd fret of the A string. Then sliding up to the 7th fret on the A string. Getting to that home bass note again. 5, 7 on the D string, 5 on the G string. Then a little micro bend on 7. And this is movable. Seven to 9 on the G string. 8, 10 on the B string, and then your home bass note again is a C note, 8th fret of the E string. Then that little micro bend on 10, back to that home bass note. And that other little flavor there, I'm hitting the F note briefly on some of this, especially when it goes to the F chord. Little half bend there on 9 of the G string, hitting 9. So you're basically hitting the F, E note, 7, back to 5, which is your home bass note there. It really flows through that scale. I just love the way that sounds. And I use a lot of reverb on some of my worship tones, but I back it off. If I'm playing bluesy phrases, I definitely back off the delay and reverb so those phrases cut through, because you don't want long trails and stuff when you're playing phrases like that. They don't come through the same. It kind of makes a mess when you're digging into the strings like that. That's just my preference. And you can also approach this type of scale and just play a solo. Every once in a while, you're going to get called upon to just play a little solo break, either at the end or in the middle of the song. Something like that really hugs the chords. You're moving. You're not playing too many notes, but I like that style. And I just start on some higher strings perhaps, and playing on the 8th fret of the B and E strings here with your first finger, sliding up to 12 on the E, and hammering on from 8 to 10 on the E string. And that just, all the notes fit because they're in that major pentatonic. And most of the time, when the first chord is a major chord, you can play the corresponding major pentatonic, which is, in this case, a C chord and a C major pentatonic. Little bluesy half, like it's not even quite it's a quarter bend. But while the note is bent, you're sliding up a fret and back down. So on the 12th fret of the B string, you're hitting a B note, you're bending that little bend up to the C note, and while it's bent, you're sliding up and back down. It's not an easy move, but a great sounding one. And then I'm going back to the A note here in the 10th fret of the B string. Slow again. And then you can walk down different positions of the C major pentatonic, just playing a couple notes of each position. You don't have to know everything here. Just know some of these little moves. So 10, 12, 12 on the G, 8, 10 on the B, 9 on the G string, and then 5, 8 on the B, and then 7 on the G string. Do that same move that we did up here, a little bend on the 7th fret of the G string, And that's a little quarter bend. You're going to the kind of blue note and back to your home bass note. And I use little elements of that major scale at times, but I'm not focused on the major scale because it starts sounding like this to me. If I'm focused on the scale, but if I'm only focusing on a note here and there of that scale, but still using the C major pentatonic for almost all the structure, because you have these little triad shapes, G, F, and A minor, C, they're all wrapped around the major pentatonic, or the major scale. But I'm just playing bluesy phrases that really connect those chords. I use this all the time. We're using the key of C today for these examples, but this is movable, these ideas, to lower strings, higher strings, different keys for sure. I use this technique all the time. Just pick a main scale that works over all the chords. In this case, it was C major pentatonic. And it just, once you get a few of these moves down, it just flows. And you can play a chord, C chord, and you have that little move there. G, got that little move there. A minor, playing a little arpeggio basically, but C, E, A. This sounds bluesy when you play it like that. And for me, I like to really dig in and accent some of those notes. I don't use a lot of compression for that reason. And on some cleaner stuff I might, but I like to really be able to dig on some of that with some reverb, and it just has a great sound to me. You can use this technique all over the fretboard. I hope this video sparks some inspiration for you and some ideas, because you can create these little bluesy phrases around the chords using the simple structure of the pentatonic scale. Thanks so much for hanging out with me today, and remember, God is good.